Have you guys ever felt like your emotions control you and you don't control it? You're just along for the ride like a roller coaster? Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the top 3 things that you could do to have mastery over your emotions. Because I thoroughly believe this is one of the greatest skills every single individual should develop and have in their arsenal. Because the reality of the matter is, it's not about what's happening outside of you and then you react to that and you have an emotion. It's what happens outside of you and then you respond to it. And let me just give you a little spoiler alert. The third tip is going to be about what you could specifically do to get out of a negative emotion and go towards a positive one. So you're going to want to stay until the end for specifically that one. If you're new here, my name is Dedeyan, and the goal of this channel is to optimize people who want to perform, to get them from where they are to where they want to be. Because we thoroughly believe the only difference between both of those points is the knowledge you need to acquire and consistently utilizing that knowledge. So if that's something that you like, don't hesitate at all to give me one of these, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell notification. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about the first tip to help master your emotions, which is define your emotional home. So what do I mean by defining your emotional home? If I say my personal emotional home is something fictive that I've created, which is living somewhere that has joy, love, empathy, success, abundance, family, and whatever else I could really say that's beautiful and just phenomenal, and I picked that as my emotional home. Now, if I specifically ask you guys, do you think I could live in that emotional home for 100% of the time? No, the answer is no, right? I hope you guys said that, because we're human beings. The fact that we are imperfect, I personally believe, is our perfection. Now, what we could do and what we should do is define how long we want to live in that emotional home. So for me, I've told myself I want to be there anywhere between 90 to 95% of the time. So that's where I decide to live. Now, where it comes to the other 5% or 10% of the time that I'm not in that emotional home, I'm more of a negative emotional home, that's perfectly okay as well. Because you need the valleys to understand the peaks. You need the darkness to figure out what the light feels like. It's not one or the other, it's both together. So what happens is when you are in that negative state or position or emotion, appreciate it. Really take the time to honor that struggle, honor that. But then put a specific time of how long you want to stay within that negative emotion. Now, imagine something smaller happens. You could specifically put a time frame as like, hey, 5 minutes. Let me be mad. This person failed a transaction. I got in an argument, whatever the case is. You allow yourself to be mad, to be pitying yourself for 5 minutes, or maybe for a day, or maybe for a week. But nothing too crazy. Even a week I feel like is a bit long. And then you decide to go back to your emotional home that you picked, which is 90 to 95%, all those beautiful things. Now let me just put a caveat here. Every single situation that happens, you're gonna have to define what the time frame is. Usually it's a lot shorter than you think. But certain time frames, such as imagine somebody passes away in your close circle, you're not gonna get out of that in 5 minutes. Allow yourself to spend the time that you need to be within that moment. So just be acutely aware of what the situation is and define your time of how long you wanna stay in there. And then go back to your positive emotional home. The second tip to master your emotions is implement a mindfulness practice within your life. Now, what do we mean by this is live in the now, live in the present moment. Now, that's so much easier said than done. Just think about a moment within your life that you're doing an activity that you were actually excited about doing. Once you're doing that activity, maybe you're thinking about something else. You're thinking about the previous activity. You're thinking about maybe your kids. And then once you're with your kids, you're thinking about work. It is very difficult to be in that present moment. But it is something that can be developed and practiced. And once you develop it and get better at it, it brings about so many great, valuable situations within that. Because once again, you don't react to your emotions or to situations, you respond to it. It's kind of like in the Matrix when the bullet goes by super slow, you see it pass by. And then once you see that emotion, you're like, okay, what should I do with this? What should I bring up in that particular moment? And the best way that I've realized to develop that skill is through meditation. Now, I don't know if you guys ever meditated. If not, I'm definitely gonna invite you guys to start dabbling into it, to go into it and to discover that world in itself. You could do it through many applications or go through YouTube and check out some guided meditations. As you develop that, your skill and your wherewithal of being in the present moment will gradually just go up, up, and up. Now, the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because I was recently watching an interview with Kobe Bryant, and he was asked, what did you feel when Phil Jackson came into your team, which was the LA Lakers? How did you feel with his new techniques and weird techniques? Because Phil Jackson was known to be a Zen meditator and used to teach that to his players. Now, for the people that don't know who Phil Jackson is, he's probably one of the top NBA coaches ever to be a coach, essentially. The guy won 11 rings. He was 6 with the Chicago Bulls and 5 with the LA Lakers. And what Kobe Bryant responded to that question was, he's like, honestly, I bought into that. And the reason why I bought into his meditative ways and his Zen way of teaching us is because I watched the Chicago Bulls when they were playing against the Utah Jazz in the final, and when they were losing, the bench and the player, they were all stoic. It didn't look like a bench that they were losing. They didn't have their head down. They weren't like bothered by the situation. They were just in that present moment. And then the next game, when the Chicago Bulls were winning by a huge score, once again, they weren't jumping on a joy. They were just stoic in that present moment. And the reality matter is, once you're able to be in the present moment in such a high level, you're able to respond to the situation. So they're able to do what they need to do at such a high level, which is play basketball in this particular case. So once again, what helps you in this situation is you are not reacting, you are responding to life. If you guys see there's some value within this video, don't hesitate at all to like, subscribe, and turn on that bell notification so you can find out when my weekly videos are coming out. So the third tip to master your emotions is figure out your happy triggers. Like I mentioned in the beginning of the video, these are things that are going to take you out of your negative emotion and bring you towards your positive one. So the first thing, the best thing that I really found that helps me out with that is figuring out your physiology, changing your physiology. So there's so many studies that have proven this so far, that if you stand and you stay in a specific way, like a Superman or Superwoman, or you put your foot up on the desk, instantly your body starts secreting more serotonin, which is the happy drug within your body, let's call it. So if you are in a negative state, change your physiology. Get up, maybe do some push-ups, maybe leave from where you are, go outside, take a little moment. Instantly you're going to get a positive feedback with that. Another study within this that was proven, if you're sad, if you force yourself to smile for more than a minute, instantly your body's going to be more happy. Because once again, your body doesn't know the reality of what's happening in your outside world. If you force yourself to laugh or smile, your body's going to start secreting serotonin more. And if you say, oh my God, this is so tough, what you could do is actually take a pen, put it in your mouth, and it's going to force you to smile for at least 1 minute. So that's the first thing, change your physiology. Second technique that I use to really get out of the negative state to go to the positive, I have something that I call a brag book. And it's pretty clear what it is, right? It's all the things that I want to brag about within myself. So what that is, and I'm going to invite you guys to do exactly the same thing. These things that I do for my coaching clients as well, and they've seen great results, and I have as well. I have a book and I write down all the great things that I have accomplished within my life that I'm proud about, or things that mentors or people that I look up to have told me, like, Chris, you're great at this, or you're doing this, or whatever the case is. Now, where this book comes into play, I don't put this out for everybody to read. This is for me. When I am having a negative moment, or I'm having a self-doubt, or I went on stage and I gave a horrible performance, I go back and I start reading this. Instantly, I'm like, oh my God, look at all these great successes. Oh my God, look at this, look at that, and so on and so forth. Instantly, my body shifts from that negative situation and goes into, I have done so many great things. This one little mishap or failure, this one little negative moment within my life doesn't define me. So it just reframes your reality. So this is something I definitely suggest you guys should do. Give it a shot and let me know how that goes for you. Hope you guys enjoyed this video and you got some value, because I thoroughly believe this is a skill that every single individual should definitely develop on becoming a master and dealing with their emotions in a better way. Because if you develop that and you control that, you'll become an amazing individual, a greater individual in every area of your life. Now, the question of the day is, what do you guys do when you are in a negative state or you have a negative emotion? Do you guys do something that we didn't speak about over here? Go ahead and comment down below, because we're all about learning here and we always want to learn new techniques and new ways to go about things. So thank you very much for that. Furthermore, here's some videos over here that I've previously done that could interest you. So go ahead and click on that. And over here, you have a big profile picture of me. Go ahead and click it. You'll be able to see my weekly videos that come out. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope you guys have a blessed and grateful life.